Great. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. Let's have a chat. Today, we're going to be discussing the adjustment of status process and the kind of documents that you will need to submit for this process. Okay, happy Friday, guys. Drop me a comment. Let me know where you're watching me from. Of course, I'm recording from the fabulous city of Manassas, Virginia, representing immigrants throughout the United States in all 50 states and handling all types of U.S. immigration law matters. So today we're going to be talking about adjustment of status, how to adjust your status, what type of documents you need to submit in order to make sure that this process works out for you. Guys, drop me a comment. I see you guys watching. Say hello to me. Okay, so the first thing to note is that normally a record of proceeding is created when the USCIS, that's the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, they receive your adjustment application. So they will create something known as a record of proceeding. Okay, so normally there's a way they arrange the record of proceeding to make sure that they have everything in an orderly manner, and then they can easily adjudicate your application. So it's important that you create a very solid packet so that their record of proceeding will be accurate and up to date and not missing any relevant information for your own benefit. So let's go through the kinds of things they are going to be looking out for. Okay, so the first thing is initial evidence. So when they're reviewing an adjustment of status application, there must be something known as initial evidence, and the officer would have to make sure, the officer that's reviewing your application has to make sure that some evidence is contained in your A file. Okay, that's your alien file. Alien means anybody that's alien or is a foreigner here in the United States. If you're not a citizen, you're either an alien, or more recently, so Joe Biden's U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021 has proposed that they do away with the word alien because it's a little harsh. So now it's going to be non-citizen that might replace, the word alien. So they'll look at your A file is your alien file, and they're going to be looking to see that all these documents are there and are placed in order. So the first thing is, if you're doing an adjustment of status application, you're going to need passport photos. Okay, you're going to be needing passport photos, and these are 2 passport style photographs, and of course 2 inch by 2 inch in color, full face, frontal view, white background, white to off-white background. It must not be edited. My editing gurus, this is not social media. You don't need to edit your passport pictures. Just let the USCIS see your face in its full glory. Like, doesn't matter what's going on with your face. Just have a full face. And, okay, just make sure it's untouched. It's just your raw natural face. Of course, you can have some makeup on to give you that factor. But yeah, do not edit it. And then you have to make sure that the photograph has to be within 30 days of filing. So don't go pick a passport picture that you took 6 years ago when you looked like a baby girl, or 6 years ago when you had no beard or whatever. That is really distinct from how you currently look. So that is the first one, photographs. And of course, here in the US, there are places that you can go to take these photographs. Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, lots of these stores do the photographs. And of course, because it's an adjustment of status process, you need to be right here in the US to file an adjustment of status process. Okay, so guys, that's it. You cannot be outside and file an adjustment process. So this is for people who are based here in the US. I see some comments from Abwaji Jimfua. Hello, Jimfua. She says, are you part of the CI group? I don't know what that is. I was thinking too about the word alien the other day, about why they use the word alien. I don't know. Yes, it's a little, yep. And you are absolutely right. Alien does sound derogatory, and that was the concern of many people, that the fact that the person is a foreigner doesn't mean you need to call the person an alien, So of course that's under discussion. So we'll see what happens with that. So the second thing is you need the form I-485. That's the form, that's the application to register your permanent resident or adjustment status. So with this form, the non-citizen has to, of course, file it with the appropriate fee. The fee is usually $1,225. And with the adjustment form, you need appropriate documents to establish eligibility. Okay, the fee has to be correct. If the fee is not correct, it's going to be rejected. And of course, not everybody can file an adjustment form. You have to be eligible to file it. So one instance where you'll be eligible to file an adjustment of application form is when you have an approved I-130, which is an underlying petition. Another instance would be where you are married to a U.S. citizen, or perhaps you are the child of a U.S. citizen, and you can actually file a concurrent application, the I-130, along with the I-485. That shows that you are eligible. So there has to be some underlying basis of eligibility. Okay. Then the third thing is, guys, you need to submit your birth certificate. So the birth certificate is very important. So you can submit a copy. Make sure you do not submit the original, because the other thing is that whatever goes to the USCIS, usually you will not get it back. What goes to Vegas stays in Vegas. So think about it that way. What goes to USCIS does not come back to you. So make sure it's copies. Whatever you're submitting, they are copies, unless you're specifically asked for the original. If you're asked for the original, then they will make arrangements to send them back to you. But otherwise, just make sure you're sending copies of your birth certificate, because birth certification, usually you need an original, and then you can run copies. And if somebody needs to see the original, they can always ask to see it or whatever at the interview, or even ask for it to be mailed to them. Okay, so let's look at why we need a birth certificate. So the birth certificate of the applicant's so a copy of the applicant's foreign birth certificate or sufficient secondary evidence of birth must be submitted to establish the applicant's country of citizenship so the reason why this is necessary is because they want to establish your country of citizenship for visa chargeability and existence of derivative relationships. So what this means is that normally, for example, if you're applying based on the preference immigrant categories, with those ones, remember that there are visa bulletin dates, and sometimes you'll have a priority date, which comes with the I-130, which is the underlying petition, which is approved. So let's say you are the spouse of a green card holder, and you are filing an adjustment of status process. And of course, you are right here in the US. You need to make sure that your priority date is current on the visa bulletin. And the visa bulletin, how you read it, also depends on your country. So countries like China, very highly populated countries with a lot of people coming into the United States, the visa chargeability dates are different. The priority dates are different. So that is how they need to read. They need to know where the applicant comes from. What is your primary place of citizenship? Then they'll be able to check if your priority date is current, depending on the country that you are from. So that's the basis of all of that. Then you also need to establish, again, evidence of admission or parole. So as you guys know, when you're coming into the United States, you've always come through a port of entry. And when you come in, you're giving something known as the I-94, which is your record of admission. So when you are trying to apply for an admission adjustment of status application, you will need the evidence that you were properly inspected and then you were admitted into the United States in order to be able to adjust. Okay. So in most cases, so for cases like VAWA, if you're applying and if you're doing an application through because you've been abused by your US citizen or your green card holder spouse, you don't need evidence of being admitted per se. Like you even if you came in without being inspected or admitted, they usually will not cause any issues for you. However, if you're applying through other means like a regular adjustment through marriage, then you would need evidence of being admitted, okay, or paroled. So you would need your I-94, your form I-94, which is your arrival or departure form. So some people, I think from 2013, the I-94 was made electronic. Okay, so before, was it, I need to check the date again. I think it was around the September 11th time that the I-94 was made electronic. So now you can retrieve, you are no longer being given the paper I-94. You can go to the CBP, Customs and Border Protection website, or and then you can retrieve your I-94 based on the information that you give them. So once you have that information, I-94, let me pull this up. I-94 soft copy when it started. So once you have that, you also apply it to your application. You know, so you should have that information. That information is very crucial to have. I simply cannot find. I can't find when they changed this. I think it must have been. It was early. Well, 2011 to about 2013. I will verify that later. I actually discussed this with somebody recently, but I cannot pull. Okay, so if you don't have your I-94, there are other ways of retrieving it, like, you know, filing the I-102 form. You'll pay a fee. I think it's $455 or something. Or you can also do a FOIA from the CBP, Customs and Border Protection, for your record of admission, you know, how you came in. Then you need your affidavit of support or related forms. Of course, unless you are exempt, then you have to file the I-864W. But if you're not exempt, the I-864 or any of its children. Okay, so affidavit of support, as you guys know, is to show that you are not going to become a public charge to the US when you are granted a green card. So they don't want you going around, you know, asking for public benefits like, oh, I need food, I need medicals. If somebody is petitioning for you to become a green card holder, then they are going to be financially responsible for you, the beneficiary, up until you become a US citizen or you die or some other factor happens, intervening factor. Okay, divorce does not relieve the burden of the petitioner or of your sponsor from you. The financial duty that your sponsor will have will continue even after divorce. You know, if you have not become a US citizen, they are going to be financially responsible for you. So if, let's say, Amma is a Ghanaian and her husband is called John, her husband is an American citizen, John is filing for Amma, John has to be financially responsible, tell the US government, enter into a contract with the US government through the I-86 for that. Look, I'm entering into a contract with the US government. I'm going to be financially responsible for Amma. I'm going to take care of, you know, anything that comes up with her. So if Amma goes to collect food stamps or public means tested public benefits like Medicaid, the government is going to go back to John and take the money from John. John was going to pay back because John has a contract with the government because of Amma, that he's going to make sure that Amma will not become a public charge. And becoming a public charge makes you inadmissible in the US. So you should be independent. You should be able to, you know, cater for yourself or have somebody that will assist you. Okay. And then, of course, the sixth thing is you need the form I-693, which is the medical examination and vaccination record. So most recently, there have been 2 updates with the I-693. The first one is that now the I-693 medical form is valid for 2 years. Initially, it was just valid for one year. And of course, once the doctor does the test, within 60 days, you should try to make sure the USCIS receives it, and then it's valid for about a year. But now it's been extended to 2 years. And now also COVID is part of the medical examination. So you should have been vaccinated in order to have your record up to date, your I-693 up to date. So that's just by the way. And the reason for this form is that if you have certain diseases like tuberculosis, which is contagious, then you are going to be inadmissible on health grounds to the United States. So they want to protect the public. So they don't want to have, you know, green card for people who are coming to apply for green cards, and then they're going to spread diseases to everybody, like coughing everywhere in the shops and in the malls, and then, you know, infecting their citizens and the people here. So that's the point of the health records, is to make sure that they are keeping people who are here in the United States very safe from disease, contagious diseases like tuberculosis or COVID or whatever. The other thing also is number 7, you would need certified records of any type of arrest or court disposition. Remember, expungement doesn't, I mean, they don't care about if your records are expunged. So if you've committed a crime, even though your records have been expunged, you have to make sure that you go for them to unseal those records and still give USCIS a record of what actually transpired. Expungement does not matter for purposes of US immigration law. Okay, guys, so I think we've done, let me put this note here. We've done 1 to 7. We will probably continue next week. We've done 15 minutes already, hopping into my next meeting. So I just came to have this chat with you guys. Let me see if there are a few comments here. Jimfa says, no, CL Group. I'm not sure what CL Group is. CL Group is a group of lawyers who provide legal advice to unionized workers. No, I'm not. Okay, Olamide says, well done, attorney. Thank you so much, Olamide, for your unflinching support. All right, people. So I hope you guys have benefited from today's video. Of course, call me if you need my assistance, and I will give you the best legal option for your case, and then give you the most creative legal strategy that will work for you. Okay. So, yep, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and please stay safe. I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Bye-bye. And happy Friday.